Imagine the time back when schools are still open and it's been a few weeks since the start of classes. You are already able to make some friends. Except me. And having fun while studying. Your advisor then says, "Since it's been a few weeks since the start of class, we will now begin to elect class officers." Everyone's excited for such an event. There will be some who won't think so highly of class officers and just votes for their friends for fun. Some who takes it seriously and searches for candidates. Then people like me who just stares into the window doing nothing. So, what will you do in such a situation? Will you vote for your friends? Will you vote for the person who has the potential to be a leader? Or will you wait and vote for what the majority chooses later on? In this video, I will discuss the importance of leadership, the 3 main points a leader needs to have, and some first-hand experience in school I did in the past being a leader. So, what is leadership? According to Peter Northouse, leadership is defined as a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals to achieve a common goal. So in leadership, the said person, commonly called a leader, aims to affect the mindset or the actions of the people he leads to achieve a common goal. In a classroom setting, other than the advisor, the president or the vice president are usually the ones who act as the leader of the class. Usually, there are class leaders who aims to make the whole class cooperate together, let's say in school activities, and upholding order in the class without relying on the supervision of the advisor. Other times, there are some class leaders who are only in name, and I mean it, because there is someone else who leads the class through their own charisma and reputation. Sometimes they are pretty much the annoying and bossy people. Lastly, there are some class leaders who don't really appreciate and do their responsibility as a leader, like it's just for fun. Now then, why is it important to have a leader? Just like in some mangas with a school-based setting, a leader is needed to stabilize the class. Students need someone who they can rely on to and put responsibility on bringing order, and for everyone to participate in a group effort. At times like these, a leader is needed to avoid any division of ideas and instead decide on one idea that the whole class can agree to. The leader is kind of like a mediator of a class. Now then, what are the 3 main points, big points, that a leader needs? From my experience, a leader needs to have knowledge, some specific character traits, and lastly, faith. Knowledge. When it comes to having knowledge, a leader must be knowledgeable about making decisions. He or she must know the implications of each decision that he or she plans to make. Aside from making decisions, a leader must also know and understand his or her group's opinions. He or she should ponder on these ideas. That is why base knowledge and experience comes into play. A simple example would be like when the whole class will be involved in an event, let's say a sports festival. As the president or the vice president, you are tasked to help your teacher or your advisor in choosing who will participate in each sport. Like basketball, volleyball, chess, or Scrabble. Through your experience with your classmates, you would have a better understanding of their capabilities and their likelihood to join the said sport. Such knowledge can greatly help your class and even win these sports. A book published by Ikujiro Nonaka and Hirotaka Takeuchi illustrates that tacit knowledge is highly different from explicit knowledge, as tacit knowledge is gained through experience. Tacit knowledge is composed of 2 dimensions. The first one is technical dimension and the other is the cognitive dimension. When combined, these two dimensions work together in order for us to have a better understanding of the world and the ability to learn more and create knowledge. Character traits. In this part, I chose at least 2 character traits or core values that a leader needs, especially in a classroom setting. The first and one of the most important traits is integrity. Integrity is synonymous to being trustworthy. A leader needs to uphold the things he or she will be responsible to and is also trusted to do tasks properly and efficiently. In a classroom setting, this could be likened to when the vice president or the president enacts simple rules. Well, yes, aside from the house rules, we have our own too for efficiency's sake. Let's say that one of the rules is to pass your reply slip letter as early as possible. And if the student gets at least 2 days late onwards, he or she has to pay a certain amount and that will be used as a class fund. That seemed very ingenious. I'm so good at that rule. A simple enactment of integrity is when you kept true in abiding the rule that your class has established. A leader in integrity is one who will always abide by the rules he or she agrees on, or what the rules have been set already. Going back to the example, no one will trust a class officer anymore if they refuse to pay the fee for being 2 months late in passing the slip, right? 2 months late. That did happen. He paid. Now we were able to buy a printer because of that. See? And if they keep on disobeying such rules, what's the point of others following it? Might as well just remove it, and thus making the officers lose their reputation for being a hypocrite. A study made by John Warren Duggar, my God, explained that individual leaders of integrity can create an atmosphere or a culture of integrity in the group he or she leads. This culture creates a highly valued working environment and excels in terms of financial performance when compared to its associates. Even if this study is based on a business setting, it just goes to show how much of an impact integrity does in leadership. And the last trait would be open-mindedness. Yes, as cliche as it sounds, it really is an important trait a leader needs to have. In making decisions, a leader needs to remember that every single opinion counts. Having this trait can also decide whether or not you are qualified in being a leader of the class. Being able to consider all opinions and suggestions of your classmates highly helps your decision making. Although yes, there are some ideas that are just way too common and not creative. There are ideas, however, that can be taken into consideration. You may have a very good idea on how to proceed with, let's say, a project, but you also need to hear the opinions of others about it. If they have suggestions, with some creativity you can combine these ideas and make a really good project. Lastly, make sure to keep your subjectivity or bias in check. If you keep favoring a certain person for ideas, not because they are always good, but others might have a negative thinking about you. Faith. A very simple, yet important point to make to be an effective leader. Prayer can always help motivate and reassure you on the decisions that you will make, which can greatly help the whole class. Through prayer, we can be assured that the Lord God will help us if we ever have problems or uneasiness about the things that we do. One example, which really happened to me, would be when my class was getting ready for a very big presentation or a theatrical play. We prayed that we shall succeed and that God will guide us to achieve a high remark. Believe it or not, we won second place among the many sections there are in our school, whilst the first place was the pilot section, which I do highly respect. To conclude this video, leadership does not only mean someone that makes work for his or her own benefit. Leadership is about unifying the group being someone who can take leadership is about unifying the group and being someone who they can place their trust on and accomplish tasks together. Thanks for watching.